Hey everybody, it's Sarah with Introvert and Introvert Entrepreneur, and I'm really excited to come to you today to talk to you about 4 ways to overcome imposter syndrome. Okay, so getting right into it. What is imposter syndrome? I heard somebody say, imposter syndrome is the tendency to discount the obvious evidence of our abilities. So, you're running along, you're doing your business, you're doing a great job, and all of a sudden something pops into your head and says, who do you think you are? You're not skilled enough. You don't have the right abilities. You didn't go to school for this. And you're thinking, you know what? Yeah, that's right. That is imposter syndrome. So this is something that I've had to overcome myself as well. And it's not easy. And of course, thoughts are bombarding your mind at all times of the day, correct? So what we're going to talk about today is just 4 ways for you to overcome, or at least start to overcome, what we call imposter syndrome. Your business is growing. Even if you just started your business, right? You get a couple of clients, you're doing really good. People are starting to pay you, and then you start to think, am I really worth this much? Should I really be charging this much money for what I do? Am I really even as good as maybe my competition? And we sit there and we think like this, and then we eventually, what we think, we start saying out of our mouths, right? I'm not good enough. Maybe my business isn't going to succeed because I don't have the skills that I need, or I shouldn't be charging this much money. So sometimes we lower our prices or lower our rates, right? Well, what we think, we eventually say, and what we say, we eventually believe. And so the first thing that we're talking about today is to help us overcome imposter syndrome is changing your thinking. Psychologists are telling us that the way to overcome imposter syndrome is to just keep an open dialogue about it, right? Just keep talking about it. I have imposter syndrome and this is how I feel, right? Well, that has done pretty much nothing for anybody in the business world, just sitting around talking about imposter syndrome. But the more you talk about your ineptness, the more you feel inept. That's the truth. Have you ever talked about how fat you feel? Does that make you all of a sudden feel like you're more fit? No, of course not. So instead of talking about the issue, we're going to turn that around and we're going to reframe it. If you struggle with something and continue to say, I feel like an imposter because I'm not good at this, or I'm not the best at it. So just because you're not the best at something doesn't mean that what you're giving doesn't have value to somebody. I am not the best at everything that I do, but I am good, and I understand that. It took me a little while to get there, but just because you're not the best at something does not mean that what you have does not give value to somebody else. I once heard that Daniel Boone said, I've never been lost. However, I have been bewildered for 3 days. So what he's saying is what he's good at is this wilderness technique, right? Learning how to live on his own, live off the land, survive in these places. He's basically Bear Grylls, but like from however many years ago, hundreds of years ago. So, but he's saying, I've never been lost. I've just been bewildered. So what is he doing? He's taking his situation and he's reframing it to be positive. So instead of saying, okay, I saw this service that I gave to this customer, and I wasn't super happy with it, or I suck, or that was terrible and that wasn't good. Well, let's take that instead and reframe it. What did we do good for that customer? And how are we going to learn from that experience, right? So how you feel is usually the last thing to change. So what are we going to do? First, we're going to change our thinking, right? So just because we change our thinking doesn't mean we're going to all of a sudden feel like we are adequate or able to give the perfect service to our customers. But what's step 2? First, change your thinking, then change your speaking, right? So in this order, we're going to change the way we think about situations. We're going to reframe them into being positive, okay? And then we're going to change the way that we talk. I had a friend, and she had gone to school for design and for a couple of other things. And I actually introduced her to to photography. And I said, hey, wouldn't you think it would be a good idea for you to consider getting into photography? Or you can come take these photos for our events that we're doing and stuff. And she's like, that's a great idea. So she started doing photography, right? And this is before I had my company. And she started doing photography. And then I started getting more into photography and videography as well. And I ended up starting my own company that really became successful. And sadly, you know, she came back and said, well, what, she thinks she's a photographer now? Like Sarah's a photographer all of a sudden? And, you know, I was kind of hurt by it at first because I thought, you know, I was the one who gave you the opportunity to go into photography. And instead, I just reframed that, right? And I thought, I must be doing really good for somebody to notice what I'm doing. And I mean, honestly, get upset because I'm being successful, right? So I had to reframe that instead of taking that and saying, yeah, you know what? Who do I think I am? I'm not a photographer. She's the photographer. She's been doing photography for much longer. And instead I had to reframe that and think, you know what? I am doing a good job. Obviously, my business is thriving, right? And so sometimes negative thoughts and speech are going to come at you, and you just have to be able to take that and reframe it, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're talking about, right? What's coming out of our mouth. So I have daily affirmations that I say over myself every single day, okay? And so what are the thoughts that you're thinking? And the thoughts that you're thinking are going to turn into your words, right? So we have to really change our thinking, and then we have to really change our speaking. So what are the things that I say over myself every day? Here's a couple of things. I say, I am valuable. What I have is valuable to other people. People believe in the vision that I have for my company. So if you don't believe in the vision that you have for your company, that's the first step. But then I say, people believe in the vision that I have for my company. So they see the value in that, right? I'm valuable. I am a good public speaker. Listen, I'm an introvert, and so I think on the general side, introverts have issues with public speaking. And I used to hate it, and I still I struggle with it a little bit, you know. It is a little bit easier talking to a camera instead of a person. But I struggle with public speaking sometimes. And I say that over myself every day. I am a good public speaker, right? So I say these things. I'm valuable. People believe in what my company is doing. I am a good public speaker. I'm always ahead and I'm never behind. So I say that over myself every day. I am on top and I'm never on the bottom. My bank accounts are always full. So here's the thing. I'm thinking those things. I'm saying those things. Are all those things necessarily happening in my life right now? No. However, they will be, because what we think and what we say we'll eventually believe in our hearts, and that is what happens in our lives. So first we change our thinking, then we change our speaking. And here's the next thing. To overcome imposter syndrome. I know it seems simple and easy, but get experience. And this is what I mean. So when we first start our businesses, whether it's a service-based business, whether it's a business to business, whether it's a multi-level marketing company, whatever it is that you are doing, you are going to feel less adequate with less experience. That is just bottom line. That is what happens. Mostly probably with introverts. But because I will say I have met some really confident people who I'm like, you don't even know what you're doing, but they're super confident. And sometimes I'm a little envious of that. However, I think in general, most people feel more confident the more experience they get. So that's super easy, right? But what do? We just jump in and do what we have to do to get the experience, to feel better about what we're doing, to know that we're giving good service to our customers, right? So that's number 3. Number 1, change your thinking. Number 2, change your speaking. Number 3, get experience so that you feel better about what you're doing, right? You feel confident and able to explain to somebody, this is what I do, this is how I do it, and this is how you're going to feel after we get it done, okay? So then the next thing is, and for introverts, this I think is a little bit harder for us, is to surround yourself with people who believe in what you're doing. So surround yourself with people who will continually encourage you. So you can encourage yourself all the time, and I do. I encourage myself. You're doing a good job. This is great. What we're doing is right. I'm on the right track. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? But just having somebody else in your life that can encourage you can take you so much further than just what you can do for yourself, right? And I think as an introvert, usually that's difficult to do, right? I'm not a shy person. However, if I had a choice, I would choose to be by myself. I work by myself. When I used to work in sales, I worked in an office with a lot of different salespeople. I was that person who went into her office and shut the door. And everybody else's doors were wide open and they were talking and communicating and building relationships. And instead I was like, let me focus. I gotta focus. And also being around people drains me. So I knew that if I was around all of that commotion, that social commotion is what I call it, that it was going to drain me and I wasn't going to be able to do my job correctly, right? That's what I thought. So relationships are so, so, so important though. The way that we've been designed is to draw energy from other people. See, I have to recharge because I'm an introvert by being by myself. But being around other people for extroverts recharges them, right? So we have to kind of reframe our personality and see and understand that relationships are really very, very important, especially for us that are struggling with this imposter syndrome. So we need to surround ourselves with people who believe in us, who encourage us, who say, you know what, you are good at that. Let me take a look at what you're doing. You know what, maybe this is, this you need to work on, but this you're really good at, right? So there's a couple of, there's a quote that I actually read by Mary Kay Ash, and she says, sandwich every criticism between two thick layers of praise. And so I surround myself with people who do that for me. So if you're going to give me some criticism, if you're going to give me some critiques, you sandwich it between some praise, right? So this is what you're doing really, really good, okay? And then here's this criticism and critique. And then at the end, you're going to say, but you know what? I believe in you. You can do that, right? So these are the kind of people that I try to surround myself with. I am an introvert, so I don't have a whole bunch of really close friends. I have a couple, but those are the ones that really encourage me. Now, if you need to separate yourself from people who are not encouraging you, honestly, just go ahead and do it. And I know it's difficult, but you're going to go so much further in your life. And I heard somebody say, you are the sum total of the company that you keep. So the people that you're hanging around with is what you will eventually become, right? That's what that saying means. So number 1, change your thinking. Number 2, change your speaking. Number 3, get experience in your field. You will feel so much better. Number 4, surround yourself with people who encourage you. And I just wanted to say this. If you don't have people around you that encourage you and you don't know how to find friends because you're an introvert and you're super weird and awkward with people for the first time, this is why we created the Introvert Entrepreneur Group on Facebook, so that you can be a part of a community that you can ask questions, you can get your questions answered, you can get encouragement, and I'm going to be here all the way encouraging you as well that you can do this, okay? You can get over this imposter syndrome, you can build your business, you can scale your business even while being an introvert, which most people say it's kind of impossible, right? I was in sales for several years. I'm an introvert, and most people say that introverts can't sell, right? Or aren't very good at sales. I even have taken tests, that say that my very lowest quality would be sales. And that's because my tendency is towards introversion. But however, I busted it and I killed it at sales. And why is that? Because I got the experience, I knew the product, I knew what I was selling, right? So I was confident in that. Thought I'm a good salesperson. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident. I spoke out of my mouth. I have confidence. I have what this person needs. This person needs this product. I know what it means because I got experience. I know what it does. I explain it to them well, and you know what? They purchased it. And yeah, I'm not the craziest like extrovert, like over the top, like you walk into my office and you leave thinking, wow, that was amazing. I really connected with that person. That's probably not me. But what I think people did see is that I was being genuine. And I think that is the thing about being an introvert that you just have to do. You have to be genuine. You have to be yourself. And I think people will see that genuineness, and I think you'll be able to sell more. So anyways, so one more time, let's go over this. Change your thinking, change your speaking, get experience, and then surround yourself with people who believe in you. And I just wanted to leave you with this one thing. There's a mentor, a coach. Her name is Terry Savelle Foy, and I watch her every single day, and I listen to her podcast, and she always says, what does she say? The secret to your success is hidden in your daily routine. So these things that I just talked about are part of your daily routine. How are you thinking every day? How are you speaking every day? What are you doing every day to get more experience? Are you listening to podcasts on marketing and business and how to grow and how to use social media to influence? Are you listening to those things? Are you watching YouTube videos about how to grow your business? Are you getting experience? These are daily routine things that you need to be doing every single day. The secret to your success is hidden in your daily routine. So I just wanted to leave you with that today. So anyhow, I'm so glad that you joined us here today. And I'm going to be creating some more content for you as well moving forward. I just wanted to hit this one specifically because I've actually had a couple of questions about it, and I wanted you guys to know what I do to overcome imposter syndrome. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time.